Hey OK Fit crew, and welcome back to another yoga class. We're going to begin today's class in a comfortable seated position of your choice, whatever allows you to sit up nice and tall and feel comfortable. I'll let you choose what position that is. You can have your eyes open or gently closed, again, whatever helps you to focus in on your breathing, and we'll begin like we normally do with a head to toe scan, just feeling where the body's at today, if it's sore and stiff, or maybe you have a lot of energy. Just gives you the opportunity to gauge where you're at today and let you know just how far you can push yourself in today's class. So again, just head to toe, not altering the breathing at all right now. Just kind of figuring out where you're at. And then place one hand on your belly and one on your chest, and we'll do a few rounds of deep belly breathing. Inhaling and drawing the breath down into your belly, feeling it push against your hand. Inhaling up through the ribs, separating those intercostal muscles that are between our ribs, and then up into the chest. And as you exhale, feeling everything drawn back into the midline as your body relaxes. So we'll inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. One last time, inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Return your hands back down by your sides or place them on top of your knees. And we'll go through a little bit of a neck warm-up. Lowering your left ear to left shoulder. Feeling a nice stretch to the right side of the neck. And then begin to lower chin to chest as you draw a semicircle with the crown of your head coming down and around. So that right ear is over right shoulder, feeling a nice stretch through the left side of the neck. Exhale back down and around. Left ear over left shoulder. We'll do that one last time. Drawing the chin in towards the chest, coming down and around. So that right ear comes over top of right shoulder. Draw your head back to center and we'll all meet in tabletop. Spread your fingers nice and wide, stack shoulders over wrists and hips over knees. Begin to press more weight into your left hand here as you draw your right hand out in front of you as if you're shaking someone's hand. Your left foot extends out beneath you, flexing the foot as if you're trying to push it into the wall behind you. Keep your hips nice and level here, and keep trying to push the mat away with your left hand. Looking for that same feeling that we get when we're doing our bear pose, and we're really trying to protract the shoulders and pushing the floor away. On an inhale, draw your right elbow into left knee to crunch. And exhale to extend. Inhale to crunch. Exhale to extend. One last time. Inhale to crunch. Exhale to extend. Lower your hand and knee back to the mat. And then shift the weight into your right hand this time. Left hand extends out in front as if you're shaking someone's hand. and your right leg shoots out behind, flexing the foot, pushing it into the imaginary wall, keeping hips level here, pushing the floor away, a very active pose. On an inhale, crunch left elbow to right knee. Exhale, back out. Make sure your hips are still level when you come back out. Inhale to crunch. Exhale to extend out. Last time, inhale to crunch. Exhale to extend out. Place your hands back on the mat. Tuck your toes and send your hips up and back into downward facing dog. You can pedal out your feet here. Sway your hips. Finding whatever you need to do to help relax in this pose. Make sure you're not clenching the jaw. On an inhale, come up onto your toes, bend your knees, look between your hands, and walk your feet up to a forward fold. Let the head hang heavy. And you'll probably need to bend your knees a little bit more so that your belly rests on the top of your thighs. When we're warming up the body, the hamstrings might be tight. And so at the beginning of class, you might need a deeper bend than later on. And just notice as the class progresses how your muscles start to change in each pose. Especially something like forward fold that we do quite a few times in our sun cells and in the chaturanga sequences. Place your hands on your shins or just above your knees and push up to flat back. Exhale to forward fold. And on strong legs, sweep your arms up overhead, come to stand, palms touch, gaze follows, exhale, palms heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, gaze follows. Exhale to forward fold, let the head hang heavy. Inhale to flat back. Exhale back to forward fold. Plant your palms, step your right foot back, followed by your left. Begin to shift all the way into your right hand as you roll onto outside of right foot, inside of left foot. Your left arm comes up, fingertips pointing towards the sky, stacking left arm over right into side plank. You have the option to lower down onto your knees, or for a challenge, lift your left leg to come into almost a star side plank. On an exhale, lower back down to full plank. You have the option to lower down onto your knees or come through your push-ups, squeezing elbows in by your sides as you lower down, chest first and then hips. On an inhale, come through your cobra or upward facing dog. And then on exhale, tuck your toes and send your hips up and back into downward facing dog. On an inhale, come up onto your toes, bend your knees, look between your hands, and step or walk to the front of your mat into forward folds. Inhale to flat back. Exhale back to forward fold. Plant your palms again and step your left foot back, followed by your right into high plank, high push-up. This time transferring the weight into your left hand, roll onto outside of left foot, inside of right foot. Right fingertips come up towards the ceiling. Option to come down onto your knees, or for an added challenge, right foot lifts away from the left. Trying to lift up those hips here. Exhale back to your full plank. Option to lower down onto your knees or come through your push-up. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale all the way back to downward facing dog. We'll take 3 breaths here. Returning back to that belly breathing that we were doing at the beginning of class. Slowing the heart rate. Come up onto your toes, bend your knees, look between the hands, and step to the front of your mat into forward fold. Inhale to flat back, exhale to forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, come to stand, palms touch, gaze follows. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. This time, sink your hips down and back to come into chair pose. Arms can stay up overhead, come out directly in front, palms at heart center, or hands on hips. Again, choose the variation that's best for you. Begin to peel your left heel up away from the floor, coming under the ball of your left foot. And then carefully step your left foot back to come into high crescent lunge. So the heel is lifted in crescent lunge and the back leg is straight, opening out the back of the knee here. We'll be coming into Warrior 3, a balancing pose. So begin to shift your weight forward, hands come by your side as you lift into your right foot. Your left foot is lifted and flexed, pointing towards the ground. And try to keep your hips level here. You can use a chair here or have your hands against the wall if that helps you balance. Begin to lower your right hand down to the floor. Open up the hips and the arms will come up. So that left arm is stacked over right, opening up the hips and chest. This is half moon pose. Begin to bend into your right knee and slowly lower all the way down into Warrior 2. Again, looking for heel to arch alignment, arms are parallel to the ground, and gaze is over middle finger. Windmill your arms to frame your front foot and step your right foot back to meet your left into high plank, high push-up. Option to lower down to your knees, or from high plank, we'll all come down together through push-up. Inhale through cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, push your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Again, we'll be here for 3 breaths.
On your last exhale, come up onto your toes, bend your knees, look between your hands, and step to the front of your mat to forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Exhale all the way down to forward fold. On strong legs, sweep your arms up overhead, but your hips sink down and back, coming back into chair pose. Make sure that you can see your toes past your knees. And again, choose the arm variation of your choice. Begin to peel your right heel up away from the floor, coming onto the ball of your right foot. And carefully step your right foot back, coming into crescent lunge. Shoulders are relaxed here. Make sure you're not hiking your shoulders up to your ears, but keep it nice and relaxed. Again, we're coming into our warrior three. So arms come down by your side, shift the weight forward, and come up into warrior three. Your right foot is flexed, toes pointing to the ground, and just like bird dog, pushing your heel into an imaginary wall. Your hips are level, and again, you can be holding onto a chair or hands on wall. Begin to lower your left hand down toward the floor. Open up from the hips. Your right arm will come up so that shoulders are stacked and chest and hips are open. Begin to bend into your left knee, your front knee, as your right foot slowly lowers down into warrior two. Wiggle your arms down to frame your front foot. Step left foot back to meet right. And from your knees or from toes, lower down through your push-up. Inhale with your cobra or upward facing dog. Tuck your toes and send your hips up and back into downward facing dog. On an inhale, come up onto your toes, bend your knees, look between your hands, and step to the front of your mat in forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Exhale to forward fold. On strong legs, sweep your arms up overhead, come to stand, palms touch, gaze follows. Exhale, palms heart center. We're going to come into crow pose, which we've done before. So you have the option, if you don't want to do the arm balance, to do 2 planks. Hold for at least 30 seconds with a 30-second hold in between. And then you can come into a resting pose until we all meet back together again. If you would like to try crow pose, you can grab a pillow if that would help you feel a little more confident. And I will show you 3 different versions that you can try. So in crow pose, your feet are together and you're trying to get your knees into your armpits and resting on your arm bone, your humeral bone, kind of wrapping the muscle out of the way so that you're balancing on the firm bone rather than on the muscle, which can wibble and wobble. So you'll almost do a forward fold, but then your knees will open up to come into your armpit. So fingers spread nice and wide underneath your shoulders, or actually just a little bit past shoulder width. So not quite as close as we would do for push-up. So pinky is basically at the edge of your mat. And then your knees come into your armpit. So you have the option to just kind of rock in and out of crow, kind of feeling what that would feel like to lift your toes. you're just rocking in and out. Or you can put the weight into your upper arm bone and then practice lifting your toes. That would be the next step. Or if you'd like to do full crow pose, then you'll lift one foot up and then the next. And then you're balancing in crow, trying to lift your feet up towards your bum. So fingers nice and wide, knees into your armpits, shift the weight onto your arm bone, and then one foot up, then both. Trying to lift your toes up towards your bum. And it's okay if you fall out of it, you can try to come back in again, or just try one of the variations. Slowly lower back down, and then all of us will meet on our back. Draw your knees into your chest. Give a nice little rock massage out the low back. And then plant both feet on the mat close enough to your bum that your fingertips can brush the back of your heels or close to brushing the back of your heels. Your feet are hips width apart. We'll come up into bridge pose, which we've done a few times. So tuck your shoulder blades underneath you. Your hands can be down by your sides, gripping the mat, or once your hips are lifted, you can interlace your fingers underneath the mat to really encourage that chest opener. So drive the weight down into your heels as you lift up your hips, drawing your chest in towards your chin. Really trying to lift, lift, lift. And then choose the arm placement that feels the best for you. Again, make sure that your legs aren't splaying out, but that they're staying in line with your hips. Really squeezing up through the glutes and the quads and the hamstrings. It's definitely a lower body workout. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower down. Hips come down last. Draw your knees into your chest. Give a nice little rock. And then we'll do that one more time. Feet down, hips width apart. Drive the weight into your heels as you lift your hips up away from the ground, tucking your shoulder blades under and driving your chest up to your chin. Really engaging the glutes, the quads, the hamstrings. Trying to lift, lift, lift. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower down. Draw your knees into your chest. Give a nice little rock. We'll all rock up into tabletop. We're going to do pigeon pose, which we have done before. If you have knees that are easily aggravated, just do figure 4, which we've gone over many, many times. We do it in most classes, where you're lying on your back, one knee is bent with the opposite foot crossed over, and you're just drawing knees into chest. And then switch if you would like a deeper stretch and you don't have any issues. We'll all go through pigeon pose together. So come into your downward facing dog and then lift your right foot up behind you and then draw right knee to right wrist and flick your foot out to the left side. Your back leg, so your left leg, shoot it out long, finding length in the left hip. And you can either stay up here if this is a nice, good stretch for you and you don't feel any pinching or discomfort in the knee. Or you have the option to lower down to forearms, or you can come all the way down. Keep equal weight in both hips so that you're not rolling to one side or the other, but that you're getting a nice stretch through the right piriformis and even hamstring, depending on how tight your hamstrings are, and a nice stretch through your left hip flexor. We'll just hold this for a few breaths. And again, you want to feel a good stretch, but you don't want to be in pain or uncomfortable. So if you are, then just come out of it a little bit, even if it just means like coming up onto your forearms, but you're still like pretty low. You're not like high up on forearms. That's the nice thing about this, is there's so many little stages that you can take to coax your way down to the ground. Or you can even put a pillow underneath your forehead to really help you relax into the mat. If you're in pigeon pose, come up onto your hands. Your left toe, so your back leg, tuck the toes and lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. This time, lift your left foot up behind you, draw left knee to left wrist, and flick your toes out to the right. Your right leg, so your back leg extended out long, and then you can stay up on your hands or begin to lower down into whatever placement allows you to be in a comfortable, deep stretch, but no discomfort in the knee. Again, any discomfort in the knee, just come into figure 4. If you're in pigeon, come back up onto your hands, tuck your back toes, lift your hips up and back into downward dog, and then we'll all meet on our back with our knees bent and feet floating in a reverse tabletop. Arms can come out by your sides in a T position or in cactus. Find whatever pose is most comfortable for your arms. And then slowly lower your knees down to the left. Your gaze can be directly up at the ceiling, or you can nod your head over to the right to deepen the twist. Coming back to that belly breathing, really breathing deeply into the side ribs, helping to deepen the stretch here. Head comes back to center. Inhale your knees back to center. Slow and controlled, lower your legs down to the right. Gaze can be directly ahead or over the left shoulder.
On an inhale, draw your head back to center and knees slowly back to center. Squeeze your knees into your chest, give a nice little rock. And then taking any last needed movements before we come into Shavasana, our final resting pose. Legs extended out long, arms down by your sides, palms facing open. Thank you for joining me today for today's class. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day.